Yeah, we're on there, Skeezix.
Yeah. Now he doesn't talk.
Now he doesn't talk. 9 times out of 10, he'll say, "Are we on yet?" Not tonight.
Are we on now?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, I was just waiting for it.
All right,
And,
Showdown. Yeah, welcome to the Freaking After Dark show, and you are listening to myself, Free Ride. There's King Guido, and there's Showdown, the showcase. All right, how y'all
Slut
doing
face.
tonight? But yeah. What's going
I'm
on?
I, I'm good. I just got myself a new job.
You just got a new job, really? Where?
Yeah, at O McDonald's Farm. I'm the senior management there. I'm the CIEIO.
CIO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you know that old McDonald had Tourette's?
he did.
Yeah, old McDonald had Tourette's. EIEI cunt.
Wow, boy, you must have gone dug deep for those fucking jokes.
Oh, I got plenty more, man.
Plenty more where that came from.
These are from the old radio days. So not all of them. Some of them are too bad for that.
Yeah.
remember George Kennedy?
George
George
Kennedy?
Kennedy.
Yeah. George Kennedy,
Yeah.
great actor. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Just really good actor.
Oh, George Kennedy. Yeah, he's from Police Squad or whatever, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah,
No.
no,
Yeah, he
George.
was.
Yeah, maybe he was on Police Squad. He was on. He did
Come on, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Thunderbolt and
Yeah,
Lightfoot. Yeah,
he did the Naked Gun movies too.
yeah. He did. He was in Naked Gun movies too.
Yeah.
George Kennedy. He was in some movies. He was in what was that John Wayne movie? Oh Jesus Christ! Not the Cowboys, but
Oh,
gee
that.
whiz. Is he still
Come
around?
on.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I think he's still around, isn't he?
Come on, he's got to be like 90.
Oh,
No.
no, not quite. George.
Come on, if he was in a movie with fucking John Wayne, he's got to be pretty old.
Well, he's definitely older guy, yeah,
Yeah,
but he
Yeah, let's see. I'll
yeah.
tell you how. There's this thing
He,
called the internet.
he
It
died
tells you.
in 2016. He
Yeah, and he was
died in
born in
20.
1925.
For crying out loud. Yeah,
he died.
he was gone. Yeah,
Oh, he
February 20.
did.
Yeah, he died. He passed away. Yeah,
Oh, he was underrated. That guy was underrated.
yeah. He was a
Okay.
great actor. He was in The
Yeah, he was.
Gambler. He was in movies like Another Happy Day, 6 Days of Paradise in Paradise.
And wait a minute, I said he would have been 95. I was wrong. You're right. He would have been 96.
Yeah. He'd been a
Wow.
little. Wow, that's old. That fucker.
Yeah, that's
He
real. I knew he was older. Oh, dude, I went yesterday and had this really cool picture of KGF framed.
yeah.
Yeah, now it's doing time upstate for armed robbery. Just a little humor there.
Just a little humor.
Yeah. Did you know this is not a joke though? There's I was just reading this article. The glorious weed infused wine lets you get drunk and high at the same time.
Really, I'd like to try that.
Yeah, it's called, let's see. If you're a low key stoner who also happens to love wine, we've got some exciting news for you. Someone out there has revolutionized the business of getting super high in the quickest way possible with weed infused wines. Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Well,
it's
they had
from
that
Canada.
shit. What is it?
Oh shit, I
Got
forgot.
helium. They put helium in beer, and you laugh your ass off, and they go, you sound like fucking Mickey Mouse when you're drinking
Oh,
the
they
beer.
they oh I see. They carbonate it with fucking helium. They
Yeah,
carbonate it with helium. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird.
that's real. That's real.
There's some people out there that don't need that.
There
I
are
know. I know.
You know.
there are people who don't need that. No, no.
It's crazy.
Something I can live without. That's for sure.
Tore right out of frame here, dude. I'm like, whoa, and shit. I'm like stoned immaculate.
Yeah.
Stoned immaculate. Nice.
Okay, Jim Morrison there. You know what's pretty sad is I need to have glasses to see my family.
You need to have glasses to see your family.
Yeah, specifically 2 glasses of scotch.
On Thanksgiving.
Yeah, anytime. You know.
So
Anytime.
Thanksgiving morning, you have 2 glasses.
Yeah, of
scotch.
Johnny Walker Red. No, that's
Johnny-
not scotch. I don't know fucking even know scotch.
No.
What's a good scotch?
Passport scotch is good. That's what my old man used to drink.
Yeah.
Are they sunglasses or regular glasses?
No, they're 2 glasses of scotch
Scotch glasses.
or whiskey or wine or whatever you want.
Gotta
Yeah,
have
but-
something though. Gotta have something to take off the edge.
Something. Hey, did you guys hear about Brian Warner, who also Marilyn Manson's his name?
Yeah.
Like 4 women have come out saying that he groomed them since they were like young teens and shit. And
Yeah. That's what I heard. That's not good for him.
no, that's
No.
crazy. But I feel sorry for all these girls that this stuff did happen to, and I'm so know that it probably did happen to all these girls in Hollywood and the music industry. But when does it stop? When does it stop? Like, all of a sudden more come out. Now, how many of them are not true? That's what I want to know.
I think they need to lower the age.
Well, that's what Ruth Gator Ginsburg also thought too.
Back to 15 years old.
15 years old, huh?
I don't know if I agree with that. When I was 15, I didn't
Dude.
even know what I was doing.
Well, boys.
No,
don't-
that's you, you're a man. Boys, women know better.
Yeah. It's an age thing. They always say that girls mature much faster than boys. They don't mean that mentally. They mean that physically. And they mature a lot faster than boys do. That's for
Especially nowadays, there's a lot of stupid girls out there now.
They're ready. They're ripe at 15, dude. They're
sure. Now come
They're
on.
not going to
don't
watch
be-
your old ass.
Enough with the pedophile shit. I mean, seriously, I don't think 15's old
now,
enough.
see, now you think that's pedophilia, but it's really not, because it's been that way since the dawn of time, and it only got illegal in the 1900s here. There was a president that married a 15-year-old girl, and it was in the 1900s, and then they changed the law to 18. But really at 15 is when you're not as far as I'm concerned, you ain't no pedophile.
Yeah, but that's back when women didn't go to college. That's back when women, their role was to stay at home and take care of the house. That's not how it is today. And it doesn't work. That's why the law got changed, because there was a lot of perverts out there.
Well, and not only that, girls were not being able to finish school and things like that. They were into instant marriages, and they were kept down.
Well,
Women were kept down. I mean, if anybody wants to protest, it's women. I mean, they were kept out of the loop.
I believe you're 15, you're legal age.
Well, no, because like I said, boys were able
They
to go
can't
on.
vote. They can't drive.
They can get married at 15. They're stuck at home.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of a precedent does that set for women? I mean, I believe in women's liberation. I believe that all of that was done for a reason, and part of the reason is women were not able. Now women are in the workforce, okay, and now women are getting college educations and shit when they didn't used to. Women couldn't even vote back then. They couldn't drive
Just
back
like
then.
they say, women
So
are
they're-
smarter now. I don't believe that. I just think they're allowed to do things now.
Well, yeah.
These girls, they're losing their virginity at 13. So
But
you
not
might as
by-
well make a fucking
Not by somebody that's 45 years old or something.
sometimes.
Well, that's disgusting.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong. I mean,
It's true. It's
it
true.
is true. It's true, but it's
true,
sad.
and when they get caught, they go to jail for a very long time.
Yeah,
Well,
and
that's
they're
why
not
they're
appreciated by the
legal, so
inmates.
they
I'll tell you that.
isolate. so they can incarcerate people. That's why they made the law, so they can fucking keep the jails full.
Okay.
so glad I don't live in the world you live in.
So how long do you think? Give me a life expectancy. Give me the life expectancy of a pedophile in a federal prison.
38 minutes.
1 year tops. I give it a year.
because the what do you call it? The COs will let everybody know. Pedophile on the block.
It's not as like that you think it is. It ain't like that.
I tell you what, though, I went to prison, and some guy was in there for raping children. I think I would be longer in prison.
Yeah.
I honestly.
There was this guy in prison, right? And he was an older guy, and he got arrested for his daughter or something had a sleepover, and there was girls all over the floor and stuff, and he reached over and his dick dropped out of his fucking boxers and in the girls' faces because he's reaching over the girls' heads to turn on the light or turn it off, and his dick flopped out on the girls' faces, and he got sentenced for it. See,
we shouldn't have been around young children in his boxers, first of all.
And I'm sure that was not his first offense.
No.
And I'm sure he had done it before. I'm sure he got fucked that night too. He there was more to it than that.
You know what? I think there was more to it than that.
But, yeah, I guarantee you that.
He just didn't want to get his ass raped.
Probably. Well, why would you do that if these girls are so underage?
Yeah, why would you go out there with not pants on? That's you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, you're just asking for.
I tell you what, I like to sit in my house with no shirt on, but as soon as my 14-year-old daughter's friends come over, I put it on. A, because it's not right, whatever, and B, I'm a fucking old ass looking man. They don't want to see that shit.
No, they don't want to see that ugliness.
And
who wants to see a set of shriveled up balls on top of that? I mean, come on. I mean, I reported that too.
I got tits too. I look like a fucking transvestite, you know.
Yeah.
Are balls all shriveled up?
No, my balls are not shriveled.
My balls are. Yeah, I used to have
mine actually. I have my Asian name is One Hang Low.
One Hung Low.
Yeah. Actually,
I got caught on a barbed wire fence, and now
I mean, you can't even see yours these days, Toddy. I can understand.
I got an innie.
Yeah. You got to use a mirror. You got to use a mirror to see your nuts.
Yeah.
Because that you're like pregnant.
Yeah, free ride.
Yeah. Well, I got a Johnny. I used to have a Johnson, but now I have a Johnny. So there's no Johnson involved at all anymore.
Mr. Ride. Mr. Ride.
Did you sign up for your company's 401k?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. I signed up too for mine, but I don't think I can run that far.
401k. Well,
it's
I'm
pretty
on a
fucking
401k,
wrong.
and I've been looking at the numbers lately, and I look pretty good.
Yeah, that's how it's going now. Everybody's saying, "Oh, the economy sucks," whatever. No, because if you look at the stock market keeps going up and up and up and up and up.
It's gonna crash.
Well,
it may crash, but the thing of it is, jobs are out there. Nobody wants a job because they can get fucking free money from the government. So why the fuck would they want a job?
And they'll stand up there and they will deny it, Guido. They will deny it. No, that's not the reason why. Yes, it is. If I was a waitress making $900 a fucking week sitting on my ass, you think I want to go wait on a bunch of asshole customers?
Well, let me tell you
You're
something.
Out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, before the pandemic, we would put up a sign, dishwasher needed, and within a day we'd have 6 applications. Now we got up on our sign, dishwasher needed. We have in 3 weeks. Nobody's came in.
No, they've got it made. They've got it made.
I'll do a dishwashing job. I'll take that job.
There you go. Come on down. Better leave early.
Wash dishes though. I ain't gonna. I ain't mopping no floors. I ain't cleaning tables. I ain't fucking washing windows. I'll do the dishes and that's it. You can pay me under the table half. I just need something to do.
Aww.
There you go.
Aw. poor showdown.
Yeah,
Poor showcase.
because
Oh.
I don't want to lose my Social Security to some ninny job that you know don't pay as much as my Social Security. I'll
Right.
take the both of them together, but yet pay me under the table, and I only gonna do dishes. I ain't washing windows. I ain't taking money. I ain't delivering foods. You know, and I'll
Right.
split the tips. I'll split the tips with the waitresses.
Now, Gonzo has some solid advice tonight. Gonzo says never date a nymphomaniac. You always have to keep an eye on them.
But what I say is, I know I'm not the most attractive man in the world. When women look at me, I can tell they're overdressing me with their eyes.
Yeah, yeah, they're always
Yeah,
undressing me with their eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they dress me.
ever have somebody at work really hit on you hardcore, and you just
Um,
know it? It stands out.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I did. But I work at a place with all dudes,
yeah. I've had
Mm.
that happen to me as well.
A place with all dudes. You
Oh,
mean
you didn't have a secretary
Yeah,
at the office there? You didn't have a girl at the office, at the main office, doing
I've had
dispatch and
many.
all that shit?
I've had
and the
plenty.
guys look through the eye?
Huh?
The
Some do.
guys
Why
with
not? You don't
the
think
eye?
gay men look at straight guys and
Oh
say,
yeah,
"Ooh, I'd fuck
yeah.
that"?
I like that. Yeah, there's guys out there that are hit.
Yeah.
I've been hit on by a guy. I'm not proud of it, but I've been hit on by a
I
guy.
actually no, stop. I'm proud of it because if a gay man finds me attractive and knows I'm not gay, that's pretty damn all right, cool. You ain't
Cool.
getting shit, but
Hey,
thank you for the
you
comment.
getting, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, look, I appreciate it, man, but I'm heterosexual, man. I'm not even interested in men. And he goes,
Yeah.
okay, well, that was it, but he did hit on me. And,
Meet me at the hole in the bathroom.
no, it's not always like that, though. I mean, you got to give gays some credit. I mean, they are the most promiscuous people in the world. They really are.
They actually well, you know what the thing about it is what I find with most people I know that are gay, they are comfortable and happier than most straight people. They really are.
Yeah, and it's not just because they're called gay either. They're very
Right.
secure in their sexuality. They're obvious about their sexuality, and
Well, they probably got a whiff of the yeast and the sourdough bread down there, and then now they don't want it because
no,
most
no.
women, half the women don't even know how to clean themselves. It's pretty difficult out there, you know.
I think he's going for the most hated man in America.
I think he is too.
But it's like yeah. I think he
it's
was yeah.
it's true. It's true. Half the women don't even know how to clean themselves, man. They stench like a fucking loaf of bread down
All
there.
right.
All
How
right.
many different women have you sampled in the past 5 years?
Well, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 or so.
In the last
Well, you
5 years, 10.
get out of the dirty bitches brigade or something there, man, because
You need
I've
to get
never smelled
fixed.
nasty pussy, and I, you
What?
know,
You need to get
I,
checked, man.
yeah, I never smelled some nasty shit. One time I went down on this fat girl, and that was pretty nasty.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
I've had one or two that
I
were
mean,
yeah,
kind of stench.
but
when you're
for about
down
a
there,
full
you haven't cleaned, man. You got a puking and shit. You go.
yeah, but let me tell you something. For a whole 10 minutes, I was just in her fat gap.
I can't imagine. Why would you do a fat girl, man?
Hey,
I lost a bet.
You lost a bet.
I don't mind if they're heavy as long as they smell good, but they usually can't reach around to give themselves a good clean.
Yeah, wow.
That's why they got that stick with the wipe on it.
But half of them, like I said, man, don't even know how to clean themselves, man. You get deep down in there, it stinks.
Well, stop picking people up at the unemployment line.
Gonzo says he works with a Gonzo works with a lesbian. he
Gonzo,
dated.
how many have you tasted in the past 5 years? Tell me.
Yeah, tell us, Gonzo, how many have you tasted in the last 5 years? But Gonzo says he dated he works with a lesbian that he dated 40 years ago. More
I
advice:
went.
don't date a lesbian.
So you turned her?
He turned her. Gonzo turned her.
Uh,
Poor girl.
how, how many have
Gonzo's a
you
wild man.
tasted? How many have you tasted in the past 5 years?
Me? One.
Okay, how about you, Toddy?
One.
God damn, you guys are liars.
No,
No.
we're not.
No.
No,
Yes,
we're
you
not.
are.
I haven't been with a
Toddy,
different
Toddy
person besides
told
my.
me, is your, I mean, Mr. Ride, have you ever tell me about some girl in a jewelry store that hit you up and
I
and,
never
and
saw it. Don't go
oh,
there.
oh, I, so see,
Change the
But that
subject.
didn't stink. That didn't stink. That was sweet. No, it was sweet.
lie. Oh man, you guys lie.
It was
Now
sweet.
I don't believe you.
It was
Well, that's
sweet.
good. You don't have to.
It was very sweet.
You're just trying to be all proper and shit and make me out.
Oh,
Well,
if you
you
would have
never
said,
know
if you
what
would have
the
said
other half
7
is
years
listening.
ago,
Yeah, that
You know,
was about.
David Lee
Well,
Roth.
that was about
David
4
Lee
years
Roth.
ago.
He used to take his roadie guys, the guys that do all the backstage work, and he'd have them give them all like 10 backstage tickets to give out to the hottest chicks in the audience. And
Yeah.
they'd go out there to the hot chicks in the audience, and they'd come back as groupies. And whoever David Lee Roth ended up sleeping with, whoever found that got an extra tip, an extra bonus.
Yeah.
you're not
Boy,
David
that-
Lee Roth.
Roth was a real
Yeah,
slut.
I am not David Lee Roth. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm close.
You're close to Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
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 Dark tootin' tang, whatever the fuck he
Dang,
says.
rat and tagging. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that I was raised in a broken home?
Were you?
Yeah, my father was a drunk carpenter.
Your father was a drunk carpenter.
Yeah, broken home.
Broken home. Yeah.
I mean, all right, if I gotta explain it, it's not funny.
It's not funny. No, that's
You're
true.
just allowed to telling jokes. That's all.
Yeah, jokes are funny sometimes.
I don't know if you're telling a joke or if you're serious half the time, because the way your timing or you need to work on that a little bit.
I don't want you to know it's a joke.
I see.
I want you to think it's real, and then you hear the punchline and laugh. You don't say it like all, hee, look at me, then you're gonna blow the joke. You know, you just bring it in. That's like my best one ever is like this. You know, it's like, hey man, did you hear about that guy that fucking at the beer store, the whole pallet of beer fell on him? Did you
No.
hear about that?
No, I didn't
No.
know about that. How'd that
It was
happen?
okay. He was okay though. It turned out that it was light beer.
Oh, it was just light beer. Okay, it wasn't very heavy at all.
Stupid jokes are my favorite jokes. Dad jokes, stupid jokes. Like at the restaurant when I'm working, someone will say, "Hey, can you hand me that gallon of mayonnaise?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, here!" And they're like, "What's the matter?" I said, "It's extra heavy mayonnaise." And it's
Good at telling jokes was Foghorn Leghorn.
I tell
I tell you, son, listen to me, son. I'm a chicken hawk. boy, let me tell you something.
best comedian,
The
hand down.
dog shoots shoots him with a shotgun and all his feathers. He comes. Good thing I got these numbers.
I think the funniest person ever, past or present, was George Carlin.
Well, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, very
mean,
good.
He was intelligent.
Who's your most favorite black comedian?
Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I'd have to say Richard Pryor. Yeah.
Come on.
Nowadays, if you ask me, like now, I would say Kevin Hart. But of all time, it's Richard Pryor and maybe even Red Fox, because Red Fox
was pretty fucking funny.
his records, like if you bought his records, they were dirty and funny. And
My favorite is Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle is to me just a lot like George Carlin. He's very intelligent with his jokes.
Yeah,
You
you
have
have
to
to
have
be
some kind of brains to figure out his jokes.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
You have to.
he's good.
He's complicated.
He's, he's the best I ever seen.
He's a realist. That's why he tells about
I
real
love
things.
I love when George Carlin talks about fucking. He talks about he talks about stuff, my stuff. You know, you go on a trip, you need a suitcase for all your stuff, and then when you get to the hotel,
Everything
you
George
need.
said was funnier than shit.
George Carlin was hilarious. He was a funny man. So.
Well, you know who else is funny is
Dave
in the
Chappelle is a
the reason why
genius.
I like Jerry Seinfeld is because he doesn't use profanity at all.
Never.
He doesn't use any kind of dirty type joke. He just tells about things that you go through in your daily life, and they're funny. I mean, you don't need to have some people need that fuck this, fuck that kind of comedy. But you know, like even Bill Cosby, you know, before Bill Cosby got in trouble, Bill Cosby was a funny man.
Yeah, Bill Cosby was funny as hell. But I'll be honest with you. Bill Cosby got screwed.
It got screwed big time, and I couldn't believe he did. I mean, yeah, what he did was bad, whatever. But there's people out there that did a lot worse and still walking the street.
True.
You know, and I'm not saying he should have been found innocent, because if he really did that to those poor women, then he deserves something. You know.
Right.
But normally back in the day, after it's been like 30 years, you don't sue people to go, or people don't go to jail. You just fucking sue them for all their money.
Right.
It should be a statute of limitations on some of this shit here. I think they ought to do that.
I think my favorite white comedian today, still living, is actually Ron White. Ron White is fucking hilarious.
Really?
The man is fucking funny. I don't care what you say.
I like Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald? Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Norm Macdonald still tells fat jokes and racist jokes, and it's like he never left the 90s. And he still does it to this day, and he's still got a very famous podcast he has these people come on, and he tells these gay or racist or whatever jokes, and then they'll laugh, and he'll say, "Don't laugh at that. That's not funny." It's so funny. You know.
How about that
fat
kid?
Funny. I don't think Seinfeld's funny at all. I think Seinfeld is the stupidest comedian. I could sit there the whole fucking time and not smile once.
I'm not talking about his television show, his stand-up.
His stand-up comedy is funny. You have to listen to his stand-up. Who's that really fat kid that does? Oh God, what's his fucking name? I sent one to you.
Iglesias?
No. What the hell is his name?
It starts with a P.
Meatloaf.
Starts with a P.
Fat. I don't know.
Pinelli, something like that.
Jesus, what the hell is
Well,
his name?
I googled fat white comedian and nothing came up. They told me
Pinelli, something like that.
I know who you're talking about.
Ralphie May.
Yeah.
Ralphie
he's
May.
I don't know. He's all right. He's funny sometimes. You know who else is funny? And he's on a game show. Is Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, yeah.
On what's it? Family Feud.
Family Feud, yeah. Steve Harvey was pretty funny, but he's also very serious. You know that, right?
He
can get really serious.
Sure. Well, that's what people fail to realize, is that a comedian is not funny all the time.
True.
You know. True. I remember the time when, I met a famous comedian, and he was in a bar, and I went up to him and I said, "Oh, I love you. You're like my famous comedian. You inspired me." And he's like, "Oh, if you don't mind, my wife just passed away today." And I'm like, "Oh, I know how you feel. The airport lost my luggage today."
Tommy Boy. What was his name? Tommy Boy. His name was Tommy. He was with.
No, his name was Chris Farley.
Chris Farley.
Yeah. Now, that fucker was funny all the time.
But he was more of a sight comedian, kind of like the John Belushi type, where he used his body more.
John Belushi was very funny, yes.
I think one of the best comedians is Chevy Chase, because he can say things in such a serious tone, and you're like, am I supposed to laugh at that?
Right. Yes, you are. You will in a minute, in a second. Yeah. Yeah, he's good, and Bill Murray's good. All them guys in the old Saturday Night Live days were great.
Well,
Oh,
they
the
were
old
about
Saturday Night Live.
they were part of the decades of the first Saturday Night Live guys. They didn't have to watch their language. Where now people, you offend somebody, you're canceled.
Yeah, you're canceled. Yeah, you got to be careful today. Being a comedian, being a
yeah.
comedian today is hard. I mean, you got to be real careful about what you say.
Unless you're black, then you can do racial
No,
jokes.
you can do racial jokes about other black people. You can't do. They don't do it anymore. If you watch, nobody picks on the other race anymore.
Nope.
Nobody.
They pick on their own. They pick on their own race.
Like
today.
I'm Italian, so I can pick on other Italians. I'm jesting with my own people, whatever. But which makes no sense because you want everybody to be equal. Now, comedy, it's just comedy. Now, unless you're really saying like the N word or something like that, it's more observation than it is reality. You know what I mean? It's just a joke. People take it too far.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that today being a comedian is much fun. It really isn't because you got to come up with all kinds of material that is going to be more diverse. As they call it.
Old Mother Hubbard sat on her tuffet and
eating her curds and whey.
What's her name? What's his name?
Along came a spider and sat down beside her and said, "Hey, bitch, what's
the
in the
itsy
bowl?"
bitsy.
Yeah, the itsy bitsy spider.
Oh, Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay, that's him. Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay.
Jill went up the hill with each $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50. That fucking whore.
Who was that one guy? What was his name on Taxi? Todd
Lodka.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman was
Andy
funny
Kaufman.
as hell. But he was a psycho motherfucker. He'd go to do a show and he wouldn't play Lodka, and he didn't like it. And everybody wanted him to do Lodka, and
that was his character. He didn't like that. That was not him.
That was not him. He was being funny other ways. He would try and be funny the other way. So
he was
underwhelmed. Nobody got his comedy when he first came out. He is actually a comedy genius, but nobody really realized it at the time.
At the time, all they knew was Lodka.
Right. And he was perfect at Lodka. You know, most people probably thought he really talked like that because how the hell do you make up a voice like that, you know?
Yeah.
But in actuality, he had a pretty deep voice.
Yeah, he did.
You see that one on YouTube? Here I am to save the day.
Yeah, that was him on Saturday Night Live with the record player.
Yeah, with the record player. Yeah.
That was great.
And that was funny. All he did was stand there until the chorus of the song came on, and then he mimicked it, and then went back to doing nothing.
Yeah.
And it was subtle but funny shit.
Down by the river.
Yeah, Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Boy, you're dragging up all kinds of old stuff, man. Yeah. The only thing that Ron White picks on are drunks and himself. Because do you think he really drinks booze on his for his show?
No, it's like Dean Martin. Dean Martin always had apple juice or something in his glass.
Yeah, he never had booze.
I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't a drinker, but he wasn't the alcoholic that everybody thought he was. You know, I mean, think about it. If he's on stage every time with a drink.
I was watching one of Johnny Carson's reruns on YouTube, and he had Dean Martin on there, and he looked pretty fucked up to me, man.
Well, maybe he was, because Johnny Carson had some parties going on in the back, man.
He always had some parties going on in the green room. Hell yeah, you don't tell me they weren't doing lines of coke and fucking drinking back
they
then.
were. That was the 70s. Even the executives at NBC were doing the coke with them. I mean,
the Donald Trump roast. I love them roasts. Those roasts.
You want to talk something funny about Chris Farley? Chris Farley, or I forgot who it was. It was either David Spade or some other comedian. Said they were sitting in their office at Saturday Night Live going over skits, and they said, "Come on, Chris, we can't think of nothing. Do something fucking funny." So he opened the window in their Manhattan office, and he took a shit out the window, like 20 flights up, and then skit after that.
They came up with something pretty quick, didn't they?
Yeah. But you don't see stuff like that, like the zany comedians anymore. You know, Robin Williams could go on a talk show and make you just die with laughter. and take over the whole talk show. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Another funny guy that used to be funny, but he's really not so funny anymore, is Howie Mandel.
Yeah, Howie Mondale
Yeah.
used to be his funny.
Yeah.
He's not quite. He's doing all the fucking America's Got Talent shit now. He hasn't got time for comedy anymore. So he's not. He's funny on his feet sometimes, but he's got to catch him at a good moment.
Right, but he used to be funny. I remember he used to make me laugh when he used to blow up the glove on his head,
Yeah.
the
Was that,
surgical glove.
Andy Dick was funny too. Andy Dick.
yeah. Yeah.
He
Anybody
was,
remember Foster Brooks?
Foster the drunk.
Yeah, Foster Brooks. Oh my God, that man was fucking hilarious. Did you know? I respect you. He was fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. The man was fucking hilarious. Yeah,
yeah.
I every chance I get, I look him up on YouTube. He does those roasts, those Dean Martin roasts, and
Right.
he is just hilarious.
Oh, the best roast master was Don Rickles, hands down.
Oh, Don Rickles
Yeah.
was fucking hilarious. Don Rickles was a funny man. Well, I told you the story about him and Frank Sinatra. They met at a restaurant.
Who was the rich guy in Caddyshack? What was his name? Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield was also another one that was great.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield was funny as hell. And hell, what's his name in
Ted
Caddyshack?
Knight.
Ted Knight was fucking hilarious. He was a funny motherfucker, man.
Well, that's the thing about Ted Knight, is he played the straight funny guy, like so
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
like Rod Dangerfield was zany and off the wall,
Right.
and he was just a straight guy, but funny as fuck in his own way.
Hey, you're beautiful. Yeah, last time I saw a face like that, it had a hook in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just like on the show Bosom Buddy, or not Bosom Buddies, Too Close for Comfort that he was on. Him and Jim J. Bullock would play off each other. He'd play the straight older guy, and Jim J. Bullock would play the zany, crazy guy, and it was funny,
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't have it any free show, it's good shows anymore.
No,
like
no,
that.
they're gone. They're gone. Saturday Night Live is in the toilet. They need to
Oh, yeah.
reinvent Saturday Night Live. They need to
Well,
come up.
they can't get away from making fun of politics. Get the fuck away from the politics. Everybody in show business, fucking stop with the politics and get back to entertaining us. That's what you're paid to do.
Yeah, I don't want to know about your feelings about politics. I remember the news on Saturday night, nightly news. I mean,
Right.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Yeah.
I mean,
That-
funny shit. I mean, funny shit.
Yep.
The Bassomatic.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny stuff. And the Samurai Swordsman, and
Oh yeah.
it's the Blues Brothers, the Killer Bee family. Remember the?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Killer
just so
Bees.
many great skits. And then when those guys all left, Eddie Murphy came on, and thank God Eddie Murphy came on, because it was just like Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo for a while.
For a while.
The 80s, Saturday Night Live sucked, but the 90s, they started getting better comedians. Mike Myers and Adam Sandler and Chris Farley and Bill Ferrell. Those guys were funny.
Yeah, but now
Everything.
it's not. They haven't found anybody that funny. Now, last Saturday night, they did a skit with Elon Musk where he's it was pretty fucking funny. I was watching it on YouTube. If you get a chance to catch it, last Saturday with Elon Musk on Saturday Night Live, folks, you got to check that out. It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I didn't listen to it. I got to check that out.
Yeah, it was funny as hell because he fucking he's got this what's his name, Chad. The guy that plays Chad, they got him up on Mars, and he's got to go outside to fucking turn his computer on and shit, to turn on this device. And Elon Musk says, now you're probably going to die when you go out there because the radiation's just going to kill you. He goes, okay. It's pretty funny. I just, and his girlfriend stops him from going outside. He goes, wait, I just want to have sex with you one more time. He says, and then the camera goes back to him and he's naked. He goes, okay. Pretty fucking funny. You got to see it. It's pretty funny. So
Yeah,
Saturday Night Live.
That sounds good. I like that shit. That's funny. See,
You know what I was just thinking while you guys were talking? Something tells me a cock and bull that a cock and bull story has a different meaning at a gay rodeo.
Oh, I'm sure it does. At a gay rodeo? Where
Yeah.
all the men wearing pink hats and shit?
Rainbows.
Rainbows?
That was a joke, right?
It was.
It was a joke.
Okay. Okay. Well, see, I didn't get it.
Do you know what's not as easy as pie?
No, what's
No.
not as easy as pie?
Baking an actual fucking pie.
No, it is difficult. It's a job. You gotta prepare the filling and all that shit. Yeah.
My hand
Yeah.
going like this. I feel like that puppet master guy. What's his name?
Go right up over your head, is it?
Right up.
Okay, so anyway, anybody got any conversation?
What's his name? The ventriloquist. What's his name? The real good one.
Edgar Bergen.
No,
Jeff Dunham.
he's got Peanut, and he's got the skeleton.
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff
Jeff
Dunham.
Dunham.
Yeah.
When I do that, you just think Jeff Dunham, okay?
Yeah.
Old Grant, I'm Peanut. Look.
Yeah, you look like Peanut. You look
There
like
you go.
Peanut. Actually, you look like the old man. What's the old man's name?
Grumpy old guy.
The grumpy old fucker. What's his fucking name?
Uh,
Oh gosh, I can never think of the guy's name. The redneck trucker.
I ain't very good with names, but I know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, just leave us hanging. Okay. He's gonna be right back. So,
Okay.
anyway, I was thinking about our conversation that we were having about electric cars. Well, why not just make every car hybrid? You put an engine in it, a small engine that gets about 100 miles to the gallon. You put a small engine in it, and you drive with that while you recharge your battery. That's how you recharge the battery. Make all the cars hybrid. So once you get on the highway, you're running on electricity.
You don't need that. All you need is wind and something moving. You don't need all that shit, man. Come on.
No, I don't agree with you, man. I don't think they make one big enough to fucking power that battery.
I don't understand how you cannot think that. What the hell are you talking about? You know how fast them wind turbines go?
Those
you know
wind
how fast
turbines don't put. Yeah, you don't have that on your fucking car.
And when the water's going through the dam and you're getting power from the dam.
Yeah.
And it's just spinning at a nice pace.
But you don't have one of those gigantic motherfuckers in your car.
Oh, you don't need that much. You don't have to power a whole city.
You need to power the car. You need to recharge that battery, and they don't have anything that big.
4 wheels would do just fine. Don't tell me it won't. Don't tell me it won't. They're full of shit and they're ripping us off. Don't tell me. I know. They're ripping us off.
Well, yeah, they're always ripping us off. What can we say about it?
I understand that kind of language. They're ripping us off, man. There's no way that they can't repower it with just by the simple wheels that turn on that car. Don't tell me different.
They can't do it.
Yes, they can. There's a difference. There's a big difference between can't do it and won't do it. And these motherfuckers won't do it because they're ripping us off.
If the more shit they put into this car, the more it's going to cost. It already costs $50,000 starting price now. What the fuck you want it to be? $1 million?
Hey, whatever it costs, you don't have to ever fuel it again.
You still got to do other things. You're going to have to buy new solenoids, new batteries, new all kinds. You're still going to have to spend money. It's not like
you're going to still have to pay.
Yeah,
those fucking batteries
trust
are
me, they're
about
going to make
$8,000.
it.
Replacing
Listen,
a battery.
the batteries are getting better and better every week.
Yeah.
And they're going to make that generator, mark my words.
Okay, let me explain something to you. We live in a capitalist country. They can make that generator battery for 8 cents. They're still going to sell it to you for $3,000
That's
That's
right.
right.
because it's a
For
capitalist
now,
nation.
for now, they are. For now, because they're ripping us off. And there's no other explanation.
They're not ripping you off. They're making a product and selling it to you. You can make it yourself and charge whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, we got the name of the fucking puppet, the old man puppet.
Walter.
It's Walter. Yeah.
Walter, that's right.
Yeah, it's Walter. Thanks, Gonzo. Gonzo, you want to come on the show, man? You might be good at it, man. You never know.
When I come up with a character, all I can do is come up with a character. I can't come up with a name,
What? I like Skank Face. I mean, Slut Box. I mean, Shadow Dancer. What is your name again?
Shadow Dance?
Skank Water.
Skank Walker. Skank
I walk
stalker.
amongst the skanks.
He likes the skanks. He eats stinky pussy. Yeah.
King Guido. King Guado. King Guado.
Can we see your garden this week?
No, I ain't gonna take it out this week.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
I could go out there and take a picture of it, and then and show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking pictures of me?
Of the weed.
Oh, I thought you were taking pictures of me.
Oh no.
I thought you were going to use them in the bathroom later.
Girls.
You like boys? What?
I'll go take a picture of those girls.
Which girls?
His plants.
My plants. They're like this right now, I say.
Oh, you name them?
No, I don't name them. They're.
Why don't you name them, man? How come you don't name them?
I name them 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever order they get.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You shouldn't name them because you really shouldn't name them because you don't know how they identify.
No.
I don't know where they came from. I think I made these seeds. These ones. I think they're crossed with Gorilla Glue. They're crossed with Gorilla Glue, with Berkeley, and something else. They're a cross, and I invented them myself. I produced them myself.
Oh, you're a breeder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a breeder. And not only that, eventually he has to kill him, so he doesn't want to name him. He doesn't want to make it too personal.
Yeah.
He has to hang them out to dry like he does his women.
I used to name them. Now I just when I harvest, and I'm growing some early harvest bud this year so I can get it out of the ground quick. I ain't going to wait till November. I'm sick of those kind.
Yeah.
I like the quick ones, the ones that they're ready in the end of August and September,
Yeah.
Right.
I ain't going to November this time. Fuck that.
Yeah.
So,
Here I
think
could.
they call those early something buds, I guess. See, 'cause I've been out of it for a while. Early birds or something like that.
If you feed them differently and you water them differently, they bud faster or something?
Oh, it's just the way they genes and their where they were made, where they came from, the genes of them.
The genome.
Yeah, you got to have genes, or you ain't got to have good weeds.
Well, make sure there's a zipper on those jeans, and don't wear those stretchy pants jeans. Those are disgusting.
It's all in the breed.
Those are called skinny jeans.
Yeah, skinny jeans. Yeah, skinny jeans. That's it. That's the ones. I love your skinny jeans. That's scary.
Yeah, well, listen, I remember in the 70s my uncle putting his pants on with fucking pliers, zipping them up.
Oh, hey, been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
When I broke the fucking little jank off, I had to pull it up with a fucking pair of pliers.
No, he pulled it up because they was tight as fuck.
Name for those tight jeans. They're called jean tights or something.
Skinny jeans. We just said it.
He's always like a step behind.
I know he's always stepping behind. You didn't hear us?
No,
You're not listening. See,
no,
he's thinking
that's called-
he's not listening. He don't listen. He don't listen.
that's not the name of them,
Yeah,
though.
they are. They're
That's not.
skinny. They call them skinny jeans.
No, there's something else. Another name for them.
Okay.
Ask Gonzo. He knows.
The
Yes,
California brand.
They're called something else. Those tight jeans that look like jeans, but they're
Oh, you're talking about the yoga pants. That's
legging
just
jean,
that's
jean
just like
legging or something.
yeah, jeggings.
Jeggings.
There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
that's not made out of jean material. That's made out of polyester or something.
Yeah, that's,
Those
that's
I like those. Oh, I like those because they got camel toe and butt cheeks
do
and
give
shit.
Have you ever
toe.
wore a pair of those?
Huh?
Have you ever tried a pair on?
No,
They're so silky smooth.
I'm not a wrestler.
No,
No.
I'm not either, but I play one on TV.
yeah. And I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I got it all down
That's
pat.
one of the worst
Yeah.
things I to watch is wrestling and MMA and on Friday night they got on Channel 11 for like 2 hours. They throw each other around on the floor and shit, and two big guys hugging all the time. I hate that. I changed that shit. There's no way I could sit through a fucking skit on that, man. That's so
Why?
gay.
It's been going on since the Roman gladiators barely had any clothes on.
Yeah.
Yes, it has, and I hated it ever since.
You've hated it ever since the Gladiators.
Remember American Gladiators?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
American Gladiators. That was a good show.
Yeah, I
that
like
It's-
that.
I used to
It
watch
was
that all the
gangster.
time.
These are like two guys fucking, Hulk Hogan and shit. These guys were fucking, there's something wrong with them upstairs, man.
Yeah, there's something wrong with their bank accounts too. They're fat.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make no difference. I don't care. There's a lot of suckers out there that'll pay for that shit.
No,
Yeah,
they watch it just for the drama that's involved.
it's like
not
a
just
soap
the
opera.
wrestling. It's a soap opera, man. You got to follow the
I don't
characters.
I don't get that. You know,
I used
I
to
don't.
watch
They might.
when Ted
I'd rather watch
DiBiase and
You ever watch wrestling? Two girls finger wrestling. Have you ever watched that? Now
No.
that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
You come from a different time, buddy.
Yeah. I used to watch Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant and
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan and
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Woo! Yeah.
You ever like-
Those guys were iconic to me. When I was a kid, they were heroes. They really were. I didn't even care that they didn't have clothes on because I wasn't some sexual pervert. To me,
Yeah.
it didn't matter. It
No,
was just
these guys were
guys
badass
beating the shit out
motherfuckers.
of
These
each
guys
other.
were built like a brick shit house.
Liked it.
Definitely
Never
weren't
liked
gay.
Couldn't handle it. It's just beyond me. But two girls finger wrestling, I can deal with that.
Well, what man wouldn't want to watch
What
that?
man wouldn't
But
wanna
I
watch
tell
that,
you
right?
what, on a Saturday morning, Hulk Hogan, pile driving fucking Roddy Piper, that was kind of cool. Yeah, we all knew it was. We all thought it was real at that time,
All right.
before they came out with it to say, yeah, it was fake. There was people that said it was fake. Like my dad always said it was, and I didn't care because to me, at 12 years old, that's what I wanted to do is kick somebody else's ass, and
I'm
it gave
more
people hope.
that I couldn't watch it. It's just waste of fucking
Do you watch boxing?
boxing. Depends on who's fighting,
Well, that's just two guys in underwear punching each other.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
they're
it's
doing-
basically the same concept.
I'd rather watch paint dry or plants grow. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I used to be a very big fan
now,
of boxing,
now,
but
MMA is completely different from wrestling.
MMA is real.
MMA is
Yeah,
real.
that's
That's
real.
That's where people are getting their asses kicked. I've
They get
seen it
hurt.
live. I've seen it up
Yeah.
close and personal, ringside, on that
Yeah.
in
shit.
the octagon. You seen the octagon? You've been
Yeah.
to the octagon.
I've seen the octagon. They had one here in St. Louis. We went to the Hearts Entertainment Center, and they had They had a cage and they had we were ringside, and this one guy, man, I'll never forget it, man. One punch, that was it. It was over. The round didn't go 10 seconds. One punch,
Well,
the guy was out like a fucking light. It was
that
fucking
was
great.
lucky.
Yeah, that was a lucky
Who's
punch.
your not
The guy
the
got
greatest, but who is your favorite boxer of all time? All time, any year?
Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, mine's Evander Holyfield.
Well, that was your generation.
Yeah,
And Mike Tyson was great too, but Ali was the greatest.
Between Ali and Holyfield, who do you think would have won?
well,
Ali.
they fought twice or once. Holyfield got beat. It was the Thrill of Manila or the Thunder in the Jungle. One of them won.
No, that was with George Foreman.
Yeah, but there was. Oh yeah, Holyfield. Yeah.
No,
Oh, well, that depends. Now that depends. Muhammad Ali was a different kind of boxer. He was a thinner, lighter, flying, moving around quick. Holyfield was just a big lug. He couldn't move that fast,
Right.
Yeah,
but he could hit fucking hard.
So
Well, was
Ali
he,
would have to come in,
um,
stick and run. Come in,
Yeah.
stick and
Well-
run.
float like butterfly, sting like bee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and he really was that kind of boxer. He was kind of like, what's his name that never lost a fight here? The middleweight. I can't think of his name. Who?
Mike Tyson.
No, a middleweight guy that.
Mike
fucking
Tyson
never
lost
lost a-
plenty of fights. Trust me.
The Mexican.
No, he's a black guy. I can't think of his name. He's like huge. He's never been defeated. Come on.
De
What's
La
his
Hoya.
name?
We got De La Hoya. We got
He's-
Sugar Ray.
No,
Remember
he's from
Sugar
now.
Ray? Huh?
He's like from now. He just retired.
Oh, I don't know them. I don't keep up with them anymore. There'll never be another Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, but there's much better boxers than Muhammad Ali now. Back then, Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about different times now. The thing with Muhammad Ali is he was he was ahead of his time boxer in an era of guys that just stood there and punched.
Right.
He got out of the way. He danced around the ring. He was like more of the 80s style boxer where you were light on your feet, where the other guys just stood there and punched and they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle him, But the one guy, he almost got beat by that schlep. I can't remember his name, but he was great. He's one of the greatest. But I think Joe Louis was better than him.
Joe Louis was a good fighter, but
Yeah.
Joe Louis was in a different era. They would go
Too,
20
he was
fucking
if
rounds.
he was a white guy back then,
Yeah.
he would have been a lot more famous than he was. And it's a shame that because of his color, he didn't get the fame. Because Joe Louis was a badass boxer.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, he beat
Sonny
Matt
Liston.
Schmeling. Beat Matt
Mhm.
Schmeling. You beat the German champion during the fucking Third Reich and shit. Yeah, that's pretty accomplished, man. You showed that you were superior.
And
was a
it had to
famous-
suck because they got beat by a black guy. The Germans probably got killed.
One
Yeah.
famous boxer that bought a house down by San Diego, and now it's run by a swingers club, and the pool is shaped like a boxing glove. And this was a famous boxer back in the day, but it's a swingers club. His house down in San Diego.
Who's the most famous boxer to kill somebody in the ring?
Oh, that was what the hell was his name?
Eastwood.
He was he was a Jewish guy.
No, he was an Italian guy.
Was he Italian? I thought he was a Jewish guy. It was goddamn, what
Boom
the hell was
boom.
Boom Boom Ray Mancini? Yes.
Yeah.
Boom Boom Ray Mancini killed Tang Wan Chu. He was a Korean guy or
Bless
something.
you.
Yeah, bless you. Achu. Yeah, he was
No
Korean and he killed him in the ring. He died.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't die in the ring, but he died
No,
at
he
the
died
hospital.
in the hospital, but because of that fight.
Yeah. And Mancini, Boom Boom Ray Mancini was never the same again.
Nope.
He was
Never.
never the same
And,
fighter again. He was shy. He was punch shy.
I used to love watching Boom Boom because he was this little spry Italian, and he just fucking just went in there and gave it his all, and
He always
you
wore
didn't
those
know how to
blue and
handle.
white trunks, man. The solid
Yep.
blue trunk, the velvet trunks and shit. Yeah, he was pretty badass. I liked him. Yeah,
He was in that. What is it? I think he was in the welterweight division or whatever, or the lightweight, one of those
yeah,
ones. But
yeah. Yeah, this recent guy, been in some trouble. This one guy's been in some trouble with young girls or some bullshit. Here we
yeah,
go again. The fucking
right.
Me Too movement's got him by the
Well, it's
balls.
obviously that it happens a lot, because there's a lot of it coming out, and it's because everybody, has that ideal that it's okay. It's not okay. You may think it's okay, but
But
there's a
it's
thing
not.
called the law.
Yeah,
Okay, let's not even talk morality. Let's talk the plain old law.
yeah.
On what? Killing somebody in the ring?
On sleeping with an underage girl.
Oh, we're back to that now?
Yeah. Do you listen?
Depends on what you calling underage. Now,
Under
what do you call
under 18.
underage? Oh, yeah, that's a wrong concept.
Uh, I mean, if
15 of age.
they're 18 and a celebrity sleeps with them, okay, that might be morally wrong, but it's still legal. If there's 15 and a celebrity or anybody sleeps with them, that's jail time.
Right.
And not only is it jail time, but you get stripped of a lot of rights by being a pedophile.
This one guy, he was like 20s and he was fucking a 13-year-old that he didn't know was a 13-year-old. I knew this guy.
I don't know. I can understand. I mean, maybe one night you with somebody you don't realize, but after multiple times, you should realize by the way she acts that she's not of age.
True.
Not necessarily. I beg to differ. I'm sorry. This girl was a big girl and she didn't talk like no 18-year-old or no 13-year-old. I mean,
Well, I don't know. That's a shame if he got caught, busted, whatever. But he should stick with his own age bracket, in my opinion. That's why I'm glad I'm married and happily married. I don't need to worry about any of that crap, seduction or drunkenness and fucking this. No, I don't want it.
Well, this one now it can cut both ways, fellas. It can cut both ways. Women
Sure,
do it too.
sure.
Women do it too. Men are not the only guilty people. I want people to understand. I want people to understand that men aren't the only ones doing this sexual predator shit.
no, there's girls out there at 14, 15, 16, 17. They're out there getting crack and sucking cock to get it. And don't tell me they ain't.
Well, yeah, they are.
Well,
Absolutely, they are.
well, the
But no,
reason
I'm
I'm so
talking. I'm talking about women being sexual predators with younger men,
Oh,
younger
sure.
boys.
The reason why I'm so against the whole underage thing, not that it's wrong or
I would
other
have
than
loved
what it's
one of
wrong.
my teachers to seduce me. That
When I
I
was
got a
16,
couple of them that I would like to have been seduced by.
no, you wouldn't, because when I was 16, I was seduced by an older woman, and it ruined my whole life. It
Oh,
and
yeah.
it did. I was I was raped basically
No
Sorry to hear
shit.
that.
because she took advantage of a situation, filled me up with alcohol and whatever, and then had sex with me. I wasn't in my right mind. I didn't want to have sex with this older lady. I didn't want to.
Did you
She
report
did
her?
it. No, it was 1980 something. And back then they would tell me, "Hey, good
Hey,
job, dude."
be happy. Yeah,
Right.
be
It
happy.
was a
Was
different
she a
time.
teacher? Was she someone of responsibility? Tell the
And she was my
story.
mom. She was my mom's friend.
She was your mom's friend,
Yeah.
Well,
And
and your mother never looked at you the same ever again, did she? Did she find out?
probably not. Yeah, oh yeah. After the first time, then I was hooked.
Oh, there was more than once.
Oh, it was like a.
Oh,
It was
this is
like a year.
good.
It was like a year-long thing.
Oh, is it a
And
year-long thing, huh?
yeah, she had 3 kids, and the one was maybe only 7 years younger than me. Um, and I didn't realize until later on that, I was in my adult years when I realized that was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that it was wrong, and it was. My dad told me it was wrong. And my dad threatened to call the police all the time, but he never did, probably because everybody's method of thinking then that it was okay.
Yeah. Well,
You'd
were
be
you
last
16 or
there,
17?
yeah.
How old were you?
I was 16.
You were 16.
Yeah.
16 is a
It
pretty
and
good age to lose your
it
virginity, though.
it and well,
And
I didn't lose my
she's
that.
giving you
I didn't say I
alcohol.
lost my virginity. I lost that shit when I was 13, but by a girl my age.
Right.
This was a predator.
This was a
She
predator.
she sought
I
me
would have
out.
loved that. That would have
And
been great to live to.
no, it really isn't. It wasn't. It was emotionally disturbing and everything. It's. I should have been sleeping with 16-year-old girls, not 36-year-old girls.
She was 36 and you were 16.
Yeah,
Was
She
she
was
a
20
MILF?
years older.
Was she a MILF?
I wouldn't sleep with an ugly woman.
Well, she was a MILF then.
Yeah,
Now,
she was.
now, sexual predator was. Were you the only one at the time?
Only when after me and her got done after the year, she went to a 15-year-old boy.
What I was praying for, you actually lived that, and I was praying for something like that to happen to me. It
There's
never
people
happened.
out there that pray to be raped. I bet you when it happens to them, they didn't want it. What you think you want and when you actually get it are two different things.
I'm not that complicated. I can't.
You're not that complicated. Is that what it? I'm complicated like that too.
It's not about complicated. It's about morality. It's about, if we
Right.
just went around doing whatever the fuck we wanted in this world,
Like dogs.
it wouldn't be a great place.
All right. After that affair, Guido, what was the oldest older woman that you did it with after you were 20?
None. I was with my wife by then, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, no, I that was the oldest person I've ever slept with. Age gap difference,
Age gap. Yeah.
Either way, younger or older. I always stuck to people around my age because they had more in common with me. It wasn't about a sexual thing; it was about a connection thing.
Right.
I was like 13 or 14, and I was living in like Riverside, and my teacher was a hottie, man. My math teacher, god damn it, she was a MILF. And she invited me to go skiing in Lake Havasu. And, and she taught me how to ski in her bikini. And she was hotter than shit, but I never got, laid or nothing, which I was fucking really hoping for. And I think I was about 13, 12.
Did you do her?
Oh, no, I didn't. But I was hoping.
Yeah. She didn't come and visit you in the middle of the night?
She knew I wanted,
Some of this shit is, when I was 16, I had sexual intercourse with a gal that was 24. So I wasn't quite as old, older than what you were doing, Guido. But that was actually my first time that I really knew what the fuck I was doing. Does that make sense? Like, she helped me out a lot. She taught me a lot about sex, and it was well worth it. I mean, and she was pretty hot. She's gone now. She passed away about 4 years ago, but I still stayed in contact with her. She was a friend of mine until she passed away, and that was kind of something that was kind of unexpected by me. I mean, but it was it worked out. Your mic's off.
I was jerking off for a long time, and then I finally got laid. Lost my virginity. I was like 16.
Your mic's off,
And,
Guido. Guido, your mic's off.
Oh, that's why you didn't respond to my last joke.
What was your last joke?
I asked you if your friend's name was Mrs. Robinson.
No, her name wasn't Mrs. Robinson. I won't mention her name on the air because that wouldn't be cool to do.
Oh, I don't want you to, but I'll tell you about when I was a kid, though. I walked in on my parents having sex.
Oh, now that's an experience. I've done that
Yeah,
before.
let me tell you about it. Was the most embarrassing 30 minutes of my life.
Oh, no, you sat there and watched for 30 minutes?
Not really. That was a joke. You got to throw them in there.
That's sick. Yeah, that's sick. You're listening to the Freaking After Dark show here on Spreaker for KGFRocks.com. We're going to take a little break here to let you all know about our DJs here at KGFRocks.com. You go in and you can listen or check the schedule for these guys. I'm not going to go through the whole fucking schedule for you, but there's Gonzo on Wednesday and Saturday nights, and then we have Zookeeper Bob on Wednesday night and Wednesday afternoon and Friday afternoon, and then you've got me on Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, and then, of course, you got me on Sunday morning for the free brunch program. Okay, we're back to it again. Hey, we're talking about all kinds of crazy shit tonight, and I hope you all are enjoying the show. And those of you who come in later, well, you'll enjoy it as well.
And you can always rewind.
We can always rewind. What do you mean?
What?
If you just came in, you could rewind the show back.
Yeah, you can rewind the show back and listen to the beginning of it. That's for sure. Yeah, you can do that. So, hey, the rock world lost someone pretty special. What's her name? Oh gosh, what the hell was her name?
Bonnie Catane.
Yeah, Bonnie Catane. Yeah, she was prevalent on Whitesnake videos and such, right? Is that what she did?
Yes. She was also married to David Coverdale.
Right.
And she was married to the Oakland A's guy there, Canseco, I think it was.
Jose Canseco, yeah. She was only 56. It's awfully young.
There's got to be some underlying thing there, like she, because 56 is young.
Yeah, it is.
My dad died at 57, but, he had a lot of health issues. But 56 for somebody with some money that can take care of themselves, I just feel there's got to be something behind it, of cancer, whatever, but it could be drug related. Who knows?
And they probably kept their sickness under the sleeve and kept it private, And if they did, they kept it pretty private. I mean, nobody knew she was sick. So
I didn't know she was that close to me in age. I would have tried to hit that shit back then.
Yeah,
but
she was hot.
She was. She was also on the front cover of Rats Out of the Cellar. She was the girl that was like on the ground. Look at it, the basement door, trap door was open, and the lights were coming out, and she was just sitting there. She was nothing to do with rock, but she was like the rock model. She was in the Whitesnake videos, the Rat cover. It was just she was an accessory to rock, I would say.
Yeah, accessory to rock.
But it's a shame that she passed away.
Just died, you mean? She's done a couple of movies too.
Yeah,
she did a couple of movies. Yeah.
Yeah. She did.
They weren't like
blockbusters.
Yeah, but she did. She did some. She was more famous for being married to famous people.
Yeah.
And I found out about it when I went on Twitter. David Coverdale's feed was one of the first that popped up, and he was giving his condolences, and I was like, oh shit, and it's sad when anybody passes away. But Lloyd Price also passed away. Remember him? You got personality. That guy died too, but he was 88. Yeah. I'd rather live to 88 than 56.
That's for sure. That's for damn sure. A lot of artists died young. I was just watching this thing on Kurt Cobain.
20 years.
Yeah.
I don't like that, man. Thinking 20 years, man, from now I'm going to be 86.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think about it all the time. 10 years from now, I'm going to be 75, 74.
Damn, 10 years from now, I'll be 57.
Jesus Christ. Well,
You'll almost be 60, man. Almost 60, huh?
Almost 60, yeah.
Yeah. Almost the big 6-0. That's always a fucked up fucking birthday, man. 60 is
my worst birthday was 30. I cried at my 30th.
So by the time Biden is finished with his presidency and the next president, Trump, gets in there, you'll be, after he's done with it, you'll be in your almost 60 by then.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'll be almost 80, Todd.
Yeah,
you'll be in the nursing home. You know what? Let's be honest. Most people you see going skinny dipping are actually just going dipping.
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah, they're just dipping. That's for sure.
There's no skinny about it. By the way, every single joke that I've given tonight, I didn't write them. They were from Norm Macdonald. These are his jokes. So
You sound like you
I've
wrote them.
yeah,
No
and
wonder I'm not laughing. Yeah, no wonder I'm not laughing.
but he's funny in a different way. He's got this dry, deadpan, just like, and he'll get you. He'll get you.
No,
Like,
never. I'd
Who?
rather listen to Charlie Sheen.
why would you want to listen to Charlie Sheen? He's boring.
No, that guy's funnier than hell.
No, you just like him because he likes young girls. It's like your bro.
He's like your young girl, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy I'd like that fucker. Okay, when you watch his show and you're laughing through the commercial, then you know that fucker's funny. But nothing Norm Macdonald's ever done to me
But
like
you're
that.
laughing at a joke that somebody else wrote, like Norm Macdonald. Charlie Sheen
Yeah,
couldn't
he's
write
got
a joke.
delivery, man. He's got delivery. The guy's got delivery.
He's got no career.
He's got no career. He's done. He did it to himself, though, for sure.
Yeah, but he's funny, man. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
He's over at Martin's house, like, Dad, let me 20. I'm gonna go over to Emilio's house.
I love
and
the
get
way
another
they killed.
50.
I love the way they killed him off on 2.5 Men.
With the piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, dropped the piano
Yeah.
on him and shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, fucking hilarious.
That's funny. I will have to say I did not like that show after he left. He was the star of the show. He did get the best jokes. Ashton Kutcher, who I do like,
he's got his own. It's his own show, though. You know, it changed, and it really did because it wasn't Charlie anymore. It was this guy Kutcher.
Yeah. Well, let's face it though. Alan was pretty funny too.
Alan was great.
Yeah,
Alan was great.
Was the deadpan funny? Like he was the straight guy.
He was a straight guy. Yeah, he had to put up with a lot of shit.
The mom was great. Everything was good on that show. They laughed like that. Even the kid was great. So.
I think Berta was the funniest. The maid or the housekeeper.
The maid was hilarious, and the girl next door, Rose.
Yeah, she had some good weed all the time. His maid had weed.
She passed away sadly.
The maid?
Rose, she was a real psycho. The girl next door, Rose. God.
Rose is the one that had him kidnapped. Remember?
Yeah, Rose had him kidnapped.
He was not. He didn't die when he died. He was kidnapped by Rose, and then he rang the doorbell to get back into his house, and the piano fell on him.
That was an '80s show that was good. That was about the only one that was
the '90s.
Was it '90s? Oh, no wonder.
There was no TV in the '80s. It was all in the '90s. Yeah, the '80s sucked for TV. I think. I mean, there were some good shows, but
listen.
And the '80s sucked for telephones and cars and music, and there wasn't one goddamn thing good come out of the '80s.
Van Halen.
I love the '80s more than anybody.
They were in the late '70s.
The '80s were much better than the '70s.
No,
Not
never.
music-wise. Not music.
What are you talking about? We got Motley Crue, Metallica.
Name me one good classic car out of the '80s. Tell me what it is.
Who the fuck cares about cars? Cars are just the thing to get me from A to B. I can give a shit if you gave me a box with a barrel car
out of the '80s. Not one. If anybody's saving some car from the '80s and restoring it, he's a moron.
Well, not everybody cares about cars. It's only people that were born in the 50s that worry about cars. I don't understand it. Everybody that was born in the 50s thinks cars are the biggest shit piece of the coolest thing on earth. Where everybody else is like, yeah, I'll take that car. Now, the inside's got to be good. I want a good sound system. I want a good.
Pieces of junk. They were.
That was the auto industry. That wasn't the 80s. That's the way everything went. Everything started moving from the steel to the plastic because we lost the steel plants.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Not one good 80s rock and roll group came out either.
Oh my God, you got Metallica. They're not good.
No.
Oh, used to suck. Motley Crue, Bon Jovi came out. They're still huge. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
There's some decent
So
bands.
good. I didn't like any of them. None of those turned me on. None of them.
Well, you must have been really bored in the 80s because I tell you what, I had more fun in the 80s than I ever did in any other decade I was alive in.
Yeah.
Not me.
See, and that's the
Guns
difference.
N' Roses, fuck. I could sit here and name thousands of bands that are still around today that came out from the 80s. Even Genesis, Genesis without Peter Gabriel, that's an 80s thing.
Right.
Uh,
80s was techno was coming out,
yeah,
disco was coming out, and
Disco
disco
was
was
in
in
the
the
70s.
70s.
Disco was in the 70s.
By 81, disco was dead.
Yep. Disco killed rock.
oh, the Bee Gees was all 80s and shit.
No, they
No,
weren't. They
they
was
weren't.
late 70s. When they had their biggest success was from 77 to 79.
79. Yep.
By 81, nobody bought another Bee Gees record till the 90s.
Yep.
They were
They were dead.
they were just
You guys know. I know it was techno and the disco, and it was the era of the go to the bars and clubs, to the titty bars and shit. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember all that. You know.
And the titty bars didn't like you didn't like that. Were the girls too old?
The music just didn't.
Oh man,
Just,
I'm not gonna lie and say that everything that came out of the '80s was good because it wasn't. But the '80s was like the '60s, and we were back to experimenting again with sounds, and where the '70s everybody sounded the same. If you listen to all those bands, they all had the same formula: blues rock.
Yeah.
Now you come to the '80s.
and Vietnam shit in the beginning.
Now you come to the '80s. Now I'm not saying I like this kind of music, but techno came out. Some of the rock bands added techno to their sound. I mean, it evolved more. There was more, options out there. There wasn't just rock and R&B and country. There was a lot of options starting in the '80s.
Well, you had in the '70s. You had Zeppelin came out. You had what's his name, Alice Cooper. You had this was the '70s, man. They had some great shit come out the '70s.
Well,
Oh,
here's
yeah,
the
they
thing:
did.
is everybody usually likes the music from when
That
they
they
were
grew up with.
what they grew up with. So being from 13 to like 25 is your musical expansion right there.
So you're saying that everybody's been brainwashed in their decade.
Sure,
Sure.
absolutely.
Sure.
Because if all you hear on the radio is Elton John Rocket Man, you're going to end up liking that song or hating it either way. Okay? And that's what radio was all about in those
Yep.
days. Shit, in the 50s and 60s, you could pay to get your record on the radio.
Right.
So
Payola.
it's all programmed. Everything that you do in your life is pre-predicted programmed.
Yeah, but there was more one-hit wonders in the '80s than any other decade that I can recall.
There was quite a few in the 60s.
Yeah, there was a lot in the
quite
60s.
a few in the
A
60s.
lot in the
More in
60s.
the '80s than ever, though.
No, I guarantee there was more one-hit wonders in the
no,
60s.
I
With the
disagree.
British
I mean, you had
invasion.
bands like Whitesnake. You had bands like, even fucking the bands that went from the
Whitesnake.
70s.
One-hit
Even the
wonder.
bands that went from the 70s into the 80s, like what you just mentioned,
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, and the Rolling Stones went into the 80s. All them
And
guys.
they made their most money
Yeah,
in
but they're
that
not
decade.
hit
Yeah,
wonders.
the
Those
Rolling
are not one-hit wonder guys. Those guys get multi-hits, man. They ain't no.
But those guys made more money because of the music scene in the 80s was
80s
so
was
diverse that
Yep.
young people were listening to the 60s band. The fucking Stones, the Grateful Dead were selling out
Leonard Skinner.
stadiums.
Yeah, Leonard
The-
Skinner
the-
selling them
the-
out.
The Grateful Dead couldn't sell out a ballroom in the 60s. Now in the 80s, they're selling out stadiums because the
yeah.
young 80s fans were liking them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, I think the 80s
Yeah, well,
music.
yeah, they liked the '70s music back in the '80s. The '80s music pretty much blew.
I disagree with you because right now, as soon as it opens back up, I'm going to a concert with Def Leppard and Motley Crue at the stadium here in Buffalo. You don't get drawing power like that if you suck.
Motley
That's true.
Crue had one good hit. That
Really?
was it. Yeah,
Really?
they had
You
one
think?
good song.
They
Yeah,
sold. Let me
and
tell you something.
Jovi had
Motley
one
Crue
good
has
song.
sold more
And
records than name me a band from the '70s besides Zeppelin or the Stones.
those guys didn't make 5, 6, 7 albums, man. Them guys made one album, and they had
What?
one
What?
good
Each
song.
album sold
Album.
at least
Oh,
four
you need
million
to study
copies.
up, bud. You
Yeah,
want to
you
have a
do.
conversation about these bands? You better study up because Motley Crue.
Motley Crue sold
Right.
close to
They were a
100
one-hit
million
wonder.
records.
They had two
100
good
million
songs.
records.
I don't
Uh,
care how many times they sold that one good song.
It wasn't the
That,
one good song. Every
that
single album they sold went to platinum. That means that it sold over 1 million copies. So their first 6 albums each hit platinum at various
they
degrees.
put one good song on the album, and they sold it for that one song. That was all they did.
No. Well, they did a good job then. They were smart motherfuckers then.
There you go. One
Now
good
they
song.
Tommy Lee, the drummer from Motley Crue, yesterday just bought a $4.15 million house in Los Angeles. So you can think he sucks all you want. He's like,
No,
all right, buddy, I'm going to make it rain.
they made money. There's a lot of stupid people out there buy his fucking record. I wouldn't buy one of them.
You sound like my
So
dad.
I tell you what, they had, let's see, 1981, 83, 85, 87, 89, 94, 97, 99, 2000, 2007, 2008, and 2016 they had albums.
Yep. And the first 7 all went platinum.
They all went platinum. Now they're back
how
together
many of them
again.
how many of them are their greatest hits? How
None.
many
No,
of them are there?
no, no.
None.
They got Girls, 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 Generation Swine, Live. They've got New Tattoo. That's a decent album.
Yeah, that's
Carnival
Live
of Sins, Live. And then they've
Live
got
is good.
Saints of Los
Live is
Angeles. Saints of Los Angeles was their last, besides The End, that was a live album.
yeah.
yeah. Live is no good. They don't do new songs on
Listen,
live.
I'll tell you. Too Fast for Love, 81, over 1 million copies. Shout
Yeah.
at the Devil, 83, like 6 million copies. Theater Pain, 85, at least 4 million. Girls, 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 87, at least 4 million. And Dr. Feelgood in 1989, 7 million records.
Yeah, there's something more to it, dude. There's a
Oh,
lot more to the music. You see, you're not. Let me say
I
this. Let me say
I was
this.
lying,
Let,
and there's a lot of fools out there.
Yeah,
yeah,
with 36 million of them fools
36 million
bought
fools,
Metallica's
boy.
first album.
I tell you what, I got to be honest with you, man. You may
They're
have
all
heard
over
that.
the-
You may have heard that one hit on the radio 4 million times a fucking day. But if you
Right.
listen to the entire album, where the B side is actually better than the A side,
Most
or
they make the
Well,
single
they
to
overplay it.
appeal to everybody.
Play the good song too. They do. They overplay the motherfucker till you get sick of it.
Do you like
correct.
AC/DC? Do you like AC/DC?
Yeah, they were a good hard rock band. Yeah, they started in the late '70s.
They
Yeah,
did. But in 1980, their album in 1980 sold 24 million copies because the 80s fans bought it. Metallica's
Well,
Black
the
Album
Talking Heads, like I'm saying, the
sold
Talking Heads
30.
came out in the late '70s, and they were through the '80s.
Yeah, but they got a totally different singer in 1980. Nobody really listened to AC/DC until 1980.
right.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, the Talking Heads, they were, he was the late '70s, but he came out in the '80s and hit it big because
Sure.
he was good then. That was good.
Well,
That was one of the good groups out of the '80s that I
well,
liked.
you know what happened then, don't you? You know what happened? MTV happened. Videos, rock videos happened. That's why
Yeah.
things
And
got
rock
so
videos
fucking
that
out
they
of hand.
wanted to
You
play.
know,
Like I
why
said.
MTV shut down now too, because it sucked.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing: is MTV played
MTV
what they
changed
wanted.
their whole format after the '80s,
Sure.
and it went downhill too. It was going downhill. That's
But
why they
in the
changed.
'80s, they chose what music the people would watch, and
Yeah.
that means you went and bought the record. Everything is predictive programming. Everything
Yeah,
you,
they
unless
overplayed all
you go
their
find it on
songs.
YouTube.
Right. Correct.
Well, no, I'm just saying they overplay their fucking one or two, three good songs that they made, and that, you know, and, well, and then the '80s, after the '80s, the groups died too, gone.
Everybody died in
Just,
after the '80s because grunge and
Yeah.
rap killed it all.
Oh, the '90s sucked. We can all agree that the '90s sucked.
I would
I
say
kind of like the
90.
'90s were coming back.
I
They
would say
coming
about
back
80 to
with the
90%
Chili
of the
Peppers,
'90s I hated.
and they were
Yeah.
coming back with some good groups then in the '90s. In the '90s, they had some good shit then, man. I'm going, all right,
Like who?
finally, we're
Like
done with
who?
these '80s.
Like who?
Who? Oh, in the '90s,
Yeah.
Chili Peppers.
Chili Peppers' first album was 1984.
Well, I know, but they really came out good in the '90s.
No, you just started hearing them in the '90s.
Yeah.
I was listening to them in '84.
Yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was listening to them too. They were on the fucking FM stations, dude.
Mhm.
They were
Yeah, they were
definitely.
good. They were good, and they stuck together. The good ones stuck together.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's the given.
like
That's a
like
given.
like
They
the
know
biggest
the
band in
things
the
they got
world,
it.
Metallica.
The one that
Metallica,
won was gave up, the Ghost, which I'm glad they did because
Van
it was
Halen. Van Halen stretched all the way through the '80s and into the '90s, and changed singers in the meantime, and then
That's right.
then
still
fell
we
off the fucking face of the earth.
'90s. They started coming back and fixing the music.
No, they fixed it wrong because I hated the '90s. I wasn't impressed with the '90s at all.
There
I
was a
really
lot
wasn't.
there was a lot out with the '90s. Here's how it goes for me. A lot of it I hated at the time, but now I listen to some of it and be like, well, I maybe didn't give that a chance. But I wouldn't pick a definitive band from the '90s like I could from the '80s, '70s, or '60s. Okay, like I could say, oh, '60s, oh, the Doors, oh, the '70s, Black Sabbath, the '80s, Motley Crue, but I can't say a band in the '90s except for the Black Crowes. That's the only one I can think of,
Yeah.
They were great
Well,
too, and Paul
and maybe
McCartney
Lenny
had
Kravitz.
albums in the '90s, and so did Mick Jagger and the
Traveling
Stones.
Wilburys. Traveling Wilburys.
They started coming back. Tom Petty in the
Tom.
'90s. It was all coming back to good fucking rock and roll. But the '80s was lost in a
Tom
lost.
Petty had his biggest time in the '80s.
Did he?
That's when Tom Petty was the biggest.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the very biggest in the '80s. He was huge in the
Yeah.
'80s. I think
He
you're
was
getting
like
your decades mixed up.
I think so too, because Tom Petty was
I
huge
think
in
you're
the
getting your
80s.
decade because the
Petty
'90s, the
tied
'90s,
over.
the
Tied
'90s is
over.
a place where rock went to die.
You're right. Tom Petty was the '80s. Yeah, he did late '70s. He's been around for a long time.
He's been
Yeah, but
around
in
for
the
a
'80s
real
he
long
had his biggest is where he boomed with
Yeah.
"Don't Come Around Here No More."
Well,
Yeah,
how could you
yeah.
not?
Watch
How
'em
could
walk.
you not? How could you fail in the '80s? Shit, anybody good would make it then.
A
The
lot of
80s,
people failed
much.
in the '80s.
Yeah,
Black Sabbath failed in the '80s.
Black Sabbath
Hey,
failed. Yeah,
I'll turn it on the '80s station, and it'll play just nothing but '80s crap. And man, that's the worst. Sorry, man. Oh God.
That's like our
Oh.
core audience, by the way.
Who?
That's like our core audience is '80s, people.
yeah, they are.
Yours.
Yeah.
Yours. Not Free Ride. Free Ride's got he's got a genre that goes back and forward. I haven't
Yeah.
heard Free Ride do '80s shit for.
Oh my God, he plays '80s all the time. He plays Guns N' Roses.
You gotta
He plays
listen. You gotta listen to my
Metallica.
Friday night show. I
Yeah.
play lots of '90s music in my. I didn't play new music. I play fucking Friday night. I rock it, man. Friday night is not classic rock.
Yeah, you play shit from where all over, and you pretty much I know you stay away from the '80s, but not on purpose.
Well, no. I play. I mean, there's a lot of '80s music that I'll play. Just to name a few, it's just fucking Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, bands like
Van Halen.
Van Halen, and
was late
Red Hot
70s
Chili
too.
Peppers, and Pearl Jam. Well, Pearl Jam's more of a '90s band.
Yeah.
Anybody that carried over from the 70s into the 80s was not an 80s group.
Well, yeah, no. Some of those '70s artists didn't do quite as well until they got into the '80s. I
The
mean, you look
Scorpions.
at Robert Palmer. Robert
Yeah.
fucking Palmer didn't do good until he did a video. You know,
Right.
Sledgehammer was one of the best videos ever done. You ever see that video? That's a great fucking video, man. That's a rocking song.
Here's
man.
another guy that didn't make it in the '70s.
There's a
Michael
few.
Bolton.
Michael Bolton.
Not many.
Now, Michael Bolton didn't do well in the '70s because he was Michael Bolton now was a rocker. He had some
Yep.
rock songs in the '70s, and he didn't do too well with it. Matter of fact, there's a couple of classics of him that I have that I do on Sunday mornings. They say Michael Bolton. Yeah, that was Michael Bolton. Give me a break. And then he went to this fucking pop shit, this bubblegum shit. That's where I think a lot of artists fucked up. They went from rock to fucking bubblegum, but they made their money in bubblegum. They were selling
He made
bazooka,
more
for
money.
Christ's
He made
sake.
more money doing his bubblegum than he could have ever made doing his rock. Let's
absolutely.
face it. You could have one hit pop record and be rich for the rest of your life.
Yep, it's all it takes.
Like Michael Jackson, his album Thriller, he could have stopped right there and still been rich for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Groups like U2.
Well,
Okay,
did you know that Thriller
he
was
made a
actually
lot of money.
was a rock album?
yeah,
It was the only rock
he
album
wanted
he
to
ever
do
did.
rock.
You know,
Yeah, it is rock. It's just like Prince's
Van
Purple
Halen
Rain.
played on it. Eddie played on it. He played
Yeah,
lead guitar
Beat It.
on it.
And Beat It, and
Yeah.
every other song, the core band for that album was Toto.
Yeah.
All the members of Toto played on that album, and they also wrote one of the songs on there.
Yeah.
So Toto was a big part of Michael Jackson's success there. And also in the 80s, it was where people came and did different things, like Prince. He would come and do a R&B record, then throw out Purple Rain, which is really kick-ass rock.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, one song.
What?
That whole album is iconic. That whole album is fucking. There's no album like it.
I wouldn't buy it.
Prince was, well, you know, he was flamboyant and all that stuff, and that's probably why you didn't like his genre, his how do I put it? His personality. You didn't like his personality, but if you sit back and close your eyes and listen to that man play guitar, you would think that this guy is an aficionado. I mean, it's just his guitar sings, and you don't listen to him because you can't stand watching him.
Right.
One or two songs. That's it.
No, he did a few. I'll show you. I'll send you a video later of him doing "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
No, thanks. And Michael Jackson wasn't all that great in the fucking 80s, but he was from the 60s.
Yeah, you never seen anything like it. I've seen the video where he did "While My Guitar Gently Weeps."
Jackson wasn't a one-hit wonder either. He was a multi-hit wonder.
Who was?
Michael Jackson.
Well,
So was Prince.
So was Prince.
No.
What?
Did he win nine fucking Emmys?
Were you dead in the 80s?
He must have been dead because I don't know.
I hated the 80s bad in the music industry and every industry.
Michael Jackson and Prince used to battle.
The best Super Bowl halftime ever was Prince.
No.
Yes, I'm afraid so. I am afraid so, man. One of the greatest halftime shows ever was Prince. He's out there doing Purple fucking Rain, and it's pouring down fucking rain. It was fucking phenomenal. It was, yeah, whatever. You're such a fucking coon.
I'm sorry that Roy Orbison didn't make it as far.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not going to talk about Roy Orbison. He won't like,
I love Roy Orbison.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
That guy was great. That guy was phenomenal.
He sounded like somebody was smacking him in the neck when he sang, "Just running scared."
Great vibrato. Great vibrato. And and he had a lot of good hits too. A lot
Probably
of
like Liberace too, didn't you?
He had one great hit, Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
One great
And
hit. He talk
and
about one
here's
hit wonder.
a note for you. In the '80s, Van Halen went farther with it.
Yeah, Van Halen sold
In
more copies
80s.
of that than he did. Where do you get that shit? You know, I don't know where you're coming from with all this. I think you're just being argumentative to make the show go along, and I think that's great. I think what you're
no.
doing is great.
Roy Orbison was in the Wilburys too,
Traveling
and
Wilburys, he didn't write one single song for the Traveling Wilburys. He just performed.
he was like with shit and Bruce Springsteen. He was with Bob Dylan. He was with you name it, man. That guy was fantastic. There was
I'm not taking anything away from him. I think he was great too. I think he was
he had
great
more
too.
than
But
one
we're
hit.
comparing Prince and Roy Orbison.
I have his greatest hits album, and nine.
There's what? There's what?
10
12 songs on there?
Huh?
Yeah. Prince's greatest hits album's a two fucking disc set.
I wouldn't listen to side one, let alone side four.
Yeah. But millions of people have.
Well, I can't help it that there's a lot of dummies out there, you know.
A lot of dummies, yeah. Like, it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. Now, that was a lot of dumb motherfuckers buying that.
That's all you had.
So, okay, so that makes it okay?
Yeah.
Well, that's all we had in the 80s, what was coming out. So,
No, I listened to a lot of shit that was coming out that didn't come from the 80s guys. It came from the 70s guys, and there was a lot of good tunes out there, and there was a lot of shit, mostly shit, from all the new groups, and they dropped right the hell out, too. After the 80s died, they died. There wasn't no, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, these bands that stay together because they're great. There wasn't none of that there in the 80s. The 80s was kind of a fly-by-night fucking, hey, anybody can come in here, make a song, and make $1 million and then get the fuck out, Oh, boy, you played the guitar pretty fast, man. Who cares,
Listen, Guns N' Roses were broken up for 20 years and came back and sold out stadiums everywhere.
There you go. But Guns N' Roses was late.
There we go. What? Half the crowd was young people. Half the crowd were people from today, like young people from today.
Okay.
Because the 80s.
Yeah.
Roses was late 70s. There wasn't an 80s band.
Guns N' Roses came out in 1987.
Prince had 14 platinum albums.
What does that mean?
That
means
means
he sold at least a million.
At least he sold 1 million fucking copies. His album sold. Roy Orbison didn't have a single platinum album. Not one.
No.
So if you want to compare the two, they're not even close. They're not even close. He was an artist. He was fucking. I wasn't a big. I'm gonna say it out. I wasn't a big Prince fan, and I think it was because of his flamboyance. Okay, but I didn't really listen to his music. But if you sit down and listen to some of Prince's greatest music, you would appreciate him as an artist because just close your eyes. You don't have to look at him. Just listen to his guitar, and he makes the fucking thing sing. Eddie Van Halen didn't hold a candle to fucking Prince on the guitar.
No,
Lenny
I agree.
Kravitz blew him away. I'm afraid to tell you right now.
I think you better stop smoking that dope, dude. You got some really good shit.
Lenny
Kravitz is nowhere near Prince.
He's a cover hack. He is a cover hack.
Lenny Kravitz is not even the lead guitar player in his own band, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. He was great. Good.
He's a rhythm guitar player.
Yeah, so all the sounds that you're hearing on his music is somebody else playing the fucking guitar.
Do you know who his most favorite person in the world is? Prince.
They were buddies. They were friends.
Prince influenced him to be a star.
Yeah.
Prince was no Prince to me.
That was his name. Prince. It wasn't a name given to him.
In Excess was better than Prince.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And
they all were better than Roy Orbison.
Wow, we just got a revelation, man. Wow.
I think for the next 3 episodes, we're going to make him listen to 80s music.
I think so. I think we need to make him listen to a little bit of something, something. Because I don't know, man. I don't know. It might
No,
be.
no, please, no, spare me. I'd rather die a fate of worse than
Dude, you
death.
ain't. See, you won't even give it a chance. You're the type of guy that. You're the type of guy that won't even give it a chance. I mean, you don't even listen to him at all. Period.
I'm
And
on
you're
the
breaking him down.
Mexican whoa radio. I'm on a Mexican whoa radio. What the
And that's
fuck kind of music was this? I'm
that's
going.
that's not rock. You're confusing 80s pop with 80s rock. Mexican radio is 80s pop. That's not rock. We're not talking about 80s music. We're talking about 80s rock.
In
We're
the
talking.
80s, all I had was a cassette player and and AM FM radio. That's what we had back in the 80s.
Yeah, and you were
So
fucking,
you
and
mentioned
you had other avenues. You started having cable back then with MTV and VH1, and you had
Yeah.
other outlets that you could listen to
The
music on.
CD came out in
all pop,
85.
The
all
CD came
pop
out in
bubblegum,
'85. The CD,
all pop bubblegum. All of it was pop bubblegum.
There
Top
was a
10.
ton of pop bubble gum
Top
in there,
10.
but there was great rock and roll. I mean, you're just so out of touch with the times that you don't even realize that there were so many great rock
A
bands from
whole
the
box full of Rolling Stones albums and um, Deep Purple, and I
yeah,
had
those
all
were
my
all
good.
'70s great
Yeah,
bands. But
they were all my cassettes
Deep
that I
Purple,
took over from the 70s, and that's what I listened to in the 80s was 60s and 70s music, and all they played on the radio in my car was crap. And
But so did every other person in the 80s. I listened to 60s and 70s music in the 80s. I wasn't one dimensional, but I didn't want to be stuck in a generation and miss out on music by not listening to it. Just like when people say, "Oh, Free Ride, you didn't watch Prince because he was flamboyant, but you liked Elton John and he was just as flamboyant."
yeah,
I
I
can
didn't give
feel
much.
it coming in the air tonight. What a booger swipe! And then Whitney Houston. What was she? What was that shit? I mean, they played some crap back then, man, in the 80s.
No. See, that's because you weren't focused into the rock. See, I wouldn't listen to anything else. In the '80s, we lived in L.A. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
We lived in L.A. and we would listen to KLOS,
Yeah.
and which was the rock station, and then there was another
KM,
rock station. There was another rock station which was all classic rock.
KMET, yeah.
KMET, and then they had another station that was more of the newer rock, or uh, yeah, he was listening to Cyndi Lauper. Gonzo said you're too
There you
busy
go.
listening.
There
You
you
like
go.
Cyndi Lauper?
That's what they played. Shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did play that. They did play that, but not on the rock station. So you had your channel.
Right.
Your old lady had you boxed in on the wrong fucking
Yeah.
channel in the car.
No,
Your
no,
old
no,
lady
no.
had you. Yeah, I think so, man. I think
No.
so. I think your old lady had you. You were out in the car and you were going for a ride. The old lady says, "I'm tired of this. Turn this off." And she turned off your rock music and she turned it on to pop shit.
You know what I would put it on? I would put it on K Earth 101.
K Earth 101, yeah, bopper music.
Yeah, because you
No.
never gave yourself the
I
chance
played,
to listen.
it was all oldies.
Yeah, it was all oldies. Yeah, and that's why you didn't listen to the rock of that day.
Well, I'll
I
tell you
couldn't
what.
stand it.
I'll
I
tell
couldn't
you what.
stand it.
I
And
still listen to the music.
will always love you.
That's
That is
not
pop
rock.
music.
That's
It's
not
fucking
rock.
pop music. Are you
That is not
mentally
rock and
challenged?
roll, man. I don't know where you're fucking coming
That's the
from.
shit they played. Don't
No,
tell me
it's
they
not.
didn't.
You're
You
not.
could have turned
You're
the
fucking
station.
stoned. You
I'm
turned that
on a
shit off.
Mexican radio.
I
I'm
didn't
on
listen to none of that shit in the 80s.
I didn't listen to that. I heard it and I
That was
turned
all
it
the
off.
shit.
I didn't listen to that. I turned that shit off too. But I listened to the rock. I listened to the rock of the day. Deep Purple's last album, the best-selling album came out in 1984.
That's it.
Their
Perfect
best album,
Stranger.
Perfect
They had been
Stranger.
around. They had been around since the 70s.
That's right, but their best-selling album was 1984.
That means that was the best music.
That means that was the best music. That was their first platinum album. They've been around since the 60s and didn't get a platinum album. And they finally got one in 1984 and sold over 1 million copies. So don't tell me there was no rock and roll in fucking the 80s.
Well, there was, but they came over from the 70s. It wasn't no.
So what difference does that make?
We had the Cars in the 80s. The Cars were fucking fantastic. Boston was fantastic. These are rock. Like Yes was there. Emerson, Lake and Palmer was still together in the 80s.
The Grateful Dead had their biggest album.
Their biggest album was in 1984.
All 70s guys, all 70 bands.
It doesn't matter where it came from.
Doesn't matter. It came from.
The point of it is you were listening to Whitney Houston, and we were listening to the new song by the Grateful Dead or whatever.
Deep Purple.
You were listening to garbage.
Even Led Zeppelin had an album in the 80s.
Hey, I was forced to listen to what was on the radio.
Yeah, your old lady
had
you
the
fucking
channel.
cock blocked.
And MTV. I know.
Yeah,
MTV
was
played a lot of popular
rock.
music.
It was all rock, and then it went over to pop and hip hop and all the
MTV,
shit.
I didn't get MTV till the early 90s.
But by then it was hip hop and stuff.
We had cable out. Now we had an 85 in Riverside.
I had antennas. I was on antenna.
Yeah. Well,
I think the antenna on your head needs to be adjusted.
I think so too. Even the Doobie Brothers did better in the 80s.
Oh yeah, that album they had late 80s with the Doctor.
Did better in the 80s. Yeah.
I had an antenna on the roof in the 80s.
Yeah, we all did.
Not in the 90s. I didn't get my cable TV till 90s.
I don't know why or not, but I've had cable TV since like 1979.
Yeah.
Well, I never could afford it. I had never paid for it.
I had cable TV. You had cable TV too when we were living in Southgate, and that was in the 80s.
I've always had, even growing up. So like, I don't know what a world is without cable TV. I guess I was fortunate because my parents made sure we had we could watch. Yeah. I mean, that probably kept us at bay.
I was out of my parents' house, and I wasn't getting my cable paid for by mommy and daddy in the 80s. I had to get my own TV going. I had to have. So I put an antenna, or I bought some rabbit ears.
Another great rock band from the fucking from the Dire Straits from the 80s. Dire Straits was rocking.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Foghat did well in the 80s. How many fucking different bands are out there that were out there in the 80s, man? There were so many rock bands. You were missing it, dude. You were missing it.
The 80s were the time of the tour, big time tours.
Yeah,
everybody was going up.
Bruce Springsteen had the biggest tour in history in the 80s. So did Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
had the biggest fucking concert tour. I mean, they went for days, man. They would go out to fucking. It was crazy.
Well, it was wide open because they were 70s bands.
Yeah,
they weren't all 70s bands.
Not all of them.
They weren't all 70s bands.
The Cars
fucking
were an 80s band.
Van Halen and Metallica in 1986 toured every stadium in America.
Let's see. What's another good band? Everybody's working for the weekend. Who the fuck is
Loverboy.
that? Loverboy, another great rock band from the 80s.
Sucked.
Yeah, okay.
Turn me loose.
Yeah, that one song in Fast Times at Ridgemont High by the Cars, moving in stereo. Fucking killer fucking song.
That whole album.
Songs. Two good songs they had.
No, Candy-O, they had Camille, they had they had so many great songs, man. Moving in stereo.
I'll be tired after this episode. I feel like I'm on, I don't know, the Dementia Channel or something. Is Joe Biden here?
Another 80s band. Gonzo says April Wine. April Wine was a band. Yeah.
What's that song they had?
Angel.
I like to rock or whatever.
Yeah, I like to rock.
April Wine, two good songs.
Yeah, a few.
Well, okay, we just mentioned 100 bands, and you said 2 good songs to each of them, so that's a lot of fucking songs already that you could have listened to and didn't.
Yeah.
I call 2 good songs and they overplayed them.
Roy
But
Orbison,
2 good songs,
overplayed.
I call that one-hit wonders, and
Roy
they
Orbison,
overplayed the shit
overplayed.
out.
Roy Orbison, overplayed.
Because what else did we have?
That doesn't change the fact you have what you have. We had what we had.
They overplayed whatever you had. All right.
They overplayed it in the 70s too, and in the 60s. They just played
Christ
the
sakes,
shit
Hotel
out of the Beatles
California
in the
is
60s.
the most annoying song ever.
Yeah.
Right. They did. You're right.
They did it in each decade. It was the same thing over and over and over. And after a while, you got tired of hearing Imagine on the radio. You got tired of hearing fucking Mother's
fucking
Little
Stairway to
Helper on
Heaven.
the radio. Stairway to Heaven. You got fucking tired of all that bullshit. You got fed up with it, you know? And so, you know, you were still playing vinyl at your party because you got tired of the radio playing the same songs over and over
Why is
again.
that? Why? Let's discuss why that is. Because the radio is a business.
That's right.
So the radio is going to play songs that the vast majority wants to hear. Okay? Right. They're not going to play it for the music lover that wants to hear that obscure track or whatever. You listen to rock radio. But if you're listening to popular music radio, it's got to be popular to be on there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got to be popular. And not only that, you know, something like Guido said, some bands used to pay to get on the fucking radio.
Yeah.
They weren't that good.
Mr. Alan Freed got in trouble for that.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the 80s. The 80s, I couldn't afford to buy the album, so I listened to what I could listen to, and it mostly blew. So,
well, yeah, 80s radio sucked bad. I mean, 80s radio was horrible.
We agree with you on the 80s radio, but we still bought the albums, though. We bought the albums, and you went to an alternative radio station like we had here in St. Louis was KSHE. And they would always bring in new music and stuff. They don't do that anymore. They're a classic rock station now. They don't bring in the new rock.
Well, now, I used to always say, I hate music of today, okay? Yeah. But now that I put music into our auto player, there is songs out there that are still good.
Oh, yeah. There's still good stuff.
There really is.
Yeah.
And I had to stop saying
classics out there. There's some instant classics. You got Limp Bizkit's got some good songs. You got, you know, a lot of good, you know, early bands, I call them, I guess, the newer bands.
Guido says, or rather Gonzo says, when he DJ'd in a bar, he used to have 2 girls always screaming REO. He said he still hates playing REO Speedwagon. He still hates playing, REO Speedwagon. You know, there's only a couple from their first 2 albums that I like. That's another band.
I had a gig one time in a bar, and I had to go take a piss. So I told the kid, I said, I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I said, here, say this next, you know, whatever. And he's like, okay. So I hear come over the speaker. And now we got Rio Speedwagon with whatever song it was. I'm like, fucking Rio Speedwagon. What the hell's wrong with this kid?
Yeah. Hey, I went to an REO Speedwagon concert at the Canyon Club over in Westlake. And it was like New Year's Eve, and I'm out there smoking bud, right, in the lounge, and I'm smoking bud, and somebody snitched me out, and we're listening to REO Speedwagon, and somebody snitched me out. This was back in the early '90s, you know, and but the guy came around and says, "You can't do that here, man," you know, because I had my cigarette pipe, you know, it looked like a cigarette, but somebody, you know. Hey, man, you can't do that, security told me.
We'll continue that story next week. We'll have to delve into that. Where's the most embarrassing places you got caught smoking weed? That'll be a great conversation we had. But we've beaten this one to death. We're about out of time. I want to thank Guido and Showdown rather, and for coming in tonight. And that's about it, man. We're about done. We took it all the way to the end. Got about 10 seconds. You guys got something you want to say? Like, bye?
Yeah, later.
Yeah, I hope I brought to light to you some things tonight. You guys have a good one, you know? That's the
Yeah.
way I feel. All right, that's just the way I feel.
That's just the
All
way
right.
I feel. All right. Well,
The
this
way to
is
cookie
Free Ride
crumbles.
saying goodnight for Showcase, Showdown, and uh, uh, Guido. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening.